Hey, let's talk about Wizmans World Retry. I just played through the demo today. Came out on Steam, a couple days ago or something like that. Kind of an interesting game. I was watching another YouTuber who was talking about RPGs and stuff coming out in December and brought this up, and I think the artwork immediately grabbed me on this one, so that's why I gravitated towards it. You may be interested in it yourself because of that same reason. And apparently, supposedly, so this was actually an old Nintendo DS game that is it only released out in Japan. It was a Nintendo DS exclusive that came out on February 25th of 2010, and it was developed by Jaleco. I've never even heard of Jaleco. Apparently, this is like their de facto JRPG. Jaleco, from what I gather, is not around anymore. Now it is owned by a developer called, or an indie studio called City Connection, and they own at least some portion of the old Jaleco library, and they're re-releasing classic games created by this company. So kind of interesting, kind of nice actually in that way. Like, I love a good historical release like this, and I love the DS era of games. So it's kind of really unique here in that we are getting a DS era re-release of a game. Now, this certainly isn't, I wouldn't call this a remake. It certainly is more in the remaster category. Overall, I would say that it pretty much does what it needs to do. It's not going to blow you away in terms of PC ports or anything like that goes. I did find the settings of the game to be relatively limited. It is not a Star Ocean 2 kind of remake or anything like that. It is more along the lines of it is literally just like a port of an old Nintendo DS game. And that being said, though, generally speaking, it looks really great. It runs pretty smooth. I did notice some jitteriness, and I think that's actually it. There's no, I didn't lose any frames or anything like that. The game was running well from a technical perspective. I think that at a high frame rate and refresh rate, I did notice some jitteriness being caused by that. But as far as I could tell, essentially the frames and the general quality of how it was running from a technical perspective was totally fine. This is definitely going to appeal to your more hardcore audience here. If you want something that is going to be really nice to just boot up on a handheld, maybe you got the Nintendo Switch Lite, or maybe you've got Steam Deck, something like that. I think that's going to appeal to that type of individual. They are releasing physical copies of the game on the Nintendo Switch and also on PlayStation and stuff like that. It does seem a little pricey. The prices that I've seen now, it actually isn't listed on Steam as of yet. I have seen prices as high as $55. I'll be completely honest, that seems a little high for this game. I'm interested in playing through the whole thing, but I don't think I want to drop $55 on the game necessarily. But come along, our JRPGs in general, they often go on sale, and you can get pretty good discounts on them after a few months or whatever of them being out. So that's totally fine. I would say for me personally, I'm probably going to wait for more of a deep discount on this, but I did enjoy it. It seems intriguing. It seems interesting. Like I say, immediately the art style appeals to me, and you can definitely see the old school DS flavor here 100%. It definitely looks and feels, for better or worse, like a DS game. The only thing I could compare it to, it does have a Shin Megami Tensei Persona kind of vibe going on here, where the demo doesn't really do a great job at pulling you into how all these systems are going to come together. But essentially you have these fairies with you that are in your party, and they kind of follow you around. And then right at the beginning of the demo, you can go and combine them, or they're called homunculus, right? So I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert on homunculi here necessarily, but my understanding of a homunculus is, they're in the same realm of like a golem or shapeshifter kind of thing. They can take on like certain different types of entities and spiritual forms and stuff like that. So that's kind of what you're getting into. I guess there's kind of almost like I hope there's kind of like a monster collecting element to it. That's what I'm a little bit unclear of. Like, I had a whole list of monsters that it starts you off with that you can combine the fairies with the certain monster, and that's basically like what your party is and stuff like that. So I assume as you start the game, you probably have a limited list of monsters, and then you flesh out that list as the game continues. But like, to completely honestly, I have no idea. So if you've played this game, you tell me, is that how it works out in the long run? I have no idea, honestly, at all. But that's kind of the vibe I got from it. It's kind of like one of those, not quite a monster collector, but one of those hybrid, like I say, Shin Megami Tensei kind of style games. It seems pretty simplistic, really. It does have elemental-based combat strategies, so wind is good against, I'm probably getting this wrong now, I don't even remember, but I think it was wind was good against earth, water was good against fire, something like that, right? And so, like, you can literally, when you're in battle, you can just, like, press a button, it'll pop up, like, what the elemental resistances are, or elements of the enemies and stuff. And you can plan accordingly. There were some weird things about this game where you couldn't use items outside of battle. You could only use items inside of battle, so that's kind of interesting. It kind of adds like a bit a different take on a strategic element there in terms of how you're actually going to use your items and stuff like that. It seems very, if I had to guess in the long run, it seems like it's going to be very focused on just grinding through these dungeons. Like, there's kind of a town that you explore, you can walk around, there's NPCs and items to buy in shops and stuff like that. But I don't think you're going to be like going out into the world and exploring a bunch of different towns and doing a bunch of different side quests or anything like that so much. There might be some side quests or something, I don't know. But if I had to guess, it's going to probably be more focused on just going out into the dungeon. You can only access one dungeon in the demo, which is the forest, and it seems to me, at least it seems to be suggesting that the villagers and the townsfolk are like trapped in this town. They cannot leave, and eventually, I'm going to assume you're going to find your way out or something like that. I don't know. There's probably going to be some total twist or something like that. But yeah, you basically go out, you're grinding your way through this dungeon, and there was kind of an objective going. You had to go out into the forest and find somebody who's missing. And then kind of this event occurs when you find this NPC out in the forest. You fight this like big, gross boss, and who's supposed to be like, I don't know, some spiritual protector of the forest or whatever. What was most interesting, most intriguing about this demo is at the very end of it, you beat the big boss. And it actually gives you a choice. It says, you can use this energy that you've collected from this entity of the forest to either revive this NPC that you went out to go find in the forest, or you can return it to the forest. And so I decided in this demo to revive the NPC that we went to go find, and then suddenly the dungeon changed as a result of that. So I wonder if you're going to get branching paths, different endings. In my case, the NPC ended up surviving. So I'm going to assume he's going to go back to the village and maybe, I don't know, play a larger part in the story, or, he's going to have some kind of like continued storyline or quest line or something like that. I'm not really sure. I guess if you had chose the other option, then, he's dead or whatever, and his energy returns to the forest, and maybe that'll lead to be the good ending, even though it kind of feels bad in the moment, right? So that was kind of the most intriguing part of the demo, I would say. Generally speaking, I'm pretty interested in it. It does seem like it's going to just be, like I say, a good, like, couch game, sit on the couch, kind of just chill out. And, you're lying in bed and you got this up on your Nintendo Switch or your Steam Deck or whatever. I think that's kind of the experience that you're probably looking at with this kind of game. That's probably going to be the way that you're going to want to engage with it here. But yeah, I'm intrigued. It looks cool. I love concepts like this. When an old game that has completely gone, totally out of the history book now kind of makes a resurgence, and it's like, hey, play this old game. We're kind of doing a remastered version of it, and yeah, like I say, it ran really great. It looked good. It feels good to play. I think the gameplay was relatively straightforward and simplistic, but I do wonder if that's going to continue to deepen. Well, it definitely will continue to deepen as you progress more and more into the storyline. I don't know to what degree exactly, but I would say give it a shot if it's something that you appeals to. You're looking at the visuals and stuff. You're like, hey, this looks cool. It might be one to keep an eye on, and at least something to keep in your back pocket if you're like, I'm kind of in between games. I want to play something a little more casual, a little more fun. That's not like super crunchy or anything. Yeah, maybe this is the one for you.